Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So last video I went over table functions and how they modify arrays and dictionaries. However, in this video I'm gonna go over iterating through an array with a for loop. So yeah, let's get started. So first things first, for loops iterate through the entire array. What that means is it'll traverse through the entire array and will have access to both the index and the value, which is pretty nice. So here I have a normal array that I've created. I've declared and initialized. It's all integers. So if you don't remember, okay, so when we print this array, when we print my array, what we can see is all the indices and the values aligned with each other, right? And how we get a singular element from that array is with the brackets and inputting the positional index in which element we want. So for say if we wanted, let's say we wanted 7, we would do 1, 2, 3, right? At the third index we have our element 7, right? That's how we access a singular element. Now, what if we wanted all the elements, right? But we didn't want to do this like this, which is super tedious, right? We didn't want to do that. We would use a for loop. So here I'm gonna use a normal for loop. If you don't know, I don't remember a normal for loop. We do for I equals 0, which is our starting value, our ending value, and our increment. And we print I task.wait. I'm gonna do 0.25, and so it will start at the value at 0, end at 10, and increment by 1 every 0.25 seconds, right? But it'll print. So it'll just count from 0 to 10 by 1. Yeah, so we did that a couple videos ago. Now we can modify this so it fits our array, right? We can print my array and pass in I, because I will be constantly changing, right? It'll be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So we can input I into our brackets, which will access a singular element from this array. Now, arrays don't start with 0, they start with 1, so we want to change our starting value. Now, we don't want to end at 10, because what if our array did not have 10 values, right? What if it had 11? We'll never hit the last index. So we have to modify this as well. And how we get the last index, not the last index, but the overall size of the array on how many times we want to iterate, we do table.getN and myArray. So this will return to us the length of the array, right? And we'll just increment by 1. So let's do this to make reading easier. So we use our I here, which will identify our index, and this will be our value, which will be matching, right? They're aligned, but here we're accessing the element based on our index. So if we run it, So at index 1 we have 5, 2 we have 3, 3 we have 7, 4, 1, and so on, which is exactly how our array is, right? So this is how you iterate or traverse through an array with a normal for loop. Now let's make it easier, right? So let's do for I v in I pairs and my array do. So here, this is another way of doing a for loop. It's not another way, but it fits more with arrays. It's easier with arrays. It makes traversing through arrays much easier rather than doing it like this. So here we have our I and V. Now for I and V, what does that mean? Our I is our index, and it's separated with this comma, and our V is our value. Now these can be named whatever, so index, value, whatsoever, but these names have to be consistent throughout this block of code, right? And I pairs, and we pass into my array because that's the array that we want to iterate through. Now normally people just put an underscore for this because they don't really use the index, but I like to name everything. So here we can do the same thing, print index and value, and then we do value like this. Now it'll look the same as this, but we have both accessed our index and our value, right? Makes coding a lot easier. And I forgot something. I forgot to concatenate. So it'll do this exact same thing. So yeah, you can see that here. So I will be 1 first, and then it'll be 2, 3, and then we'll be getting our values aligned with the index. Now let's say we only want to check for a certain integer, like a 3. So if our value is equal to 3, then we can print found 3. Else print did not find. Well, let's do is not 3. And let's put our index with it, so we know it's not a 3. Right, and this should be value. So here what we are saying, if our value is a 3, then we will print our index, whatever index, and with found 3. Else if it's not a 3, we'll print the index with is not 3, right? So if you were to run it, at the first index it's not a 3, at the second index we found a 3, a third not 3, fourth, fifth, sixth, and until we get to the last one, well, not last one, 7, we found a 3, 8, not a 3, 9, and we found a 3. So yeah. Now wait, this would be cool. There are count 3s in the array. Okay, so basically I made a count variable, and it should be count. So if we found a 3, we'll increment our count using this operator, compound assignment operator, and we'll print out there are however many counts there are threes in the array. So basically it'll just keep track of how many threes there are, and it should be 3. So there are 3 threes in the array, right? So yeah, this is pretty cool. I just wanted to do that real quick. You don't have to do that though. So yeah. Now let's say we want to check, instead of checking the value, we want to check the index. So if our index is equal to 3, then we'll print at index 3, else not index 3. Instead, index and however index is. Now what this is saying is if our index is 3, then we'll print we're at the 3rd index. Else we just say we're not at the 3rd index. Instead we're at index whatever index is, right? So here we're not at the 3rd index, we're at the 1st index, we're not at the 3rd index, we're at the 2nd index, and when we get to the 3rd index, we'll say we're at the 3rd index, and then so on, we're not at the 3rd index, right? That's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, you can do this as well. So you can just access how we did it up here, but we use our index from this kind of for loop, but this would be completely useless because we already have our value. Why are we accessing it like this, right? So yeah, unless there's like something else you're doing with it. So that's iterating, traversing through an array with this kind of for loop. Now we can do this with a while loop too. So we can do local count equals 1 while count is less than or equal to, right? So while count is less than or equal to table dot, we're just gonna get the length of my array. So if count is less than or equal to our however long our array is, we'll just continue this array. I mean not array, our loop, our while loop, and we'll just print my array count. So we're accessing a value here, an element, but we're also gonna signify which index we're on, right? We always want to put a wait somewhere inside of a while loop, or else you will crash. Maybe not with this, because wait, hold on, what's going on? Oh, whoops, I forgot. You have to increment count. Completely forgot. So yeah, as I was saying, now here we're doing the same thing we did up here and here. We're just getting the index, but we're using a variable for it, an outer variable, a global variable with it, and we're just checking if it's less than or equal to the length of the array. We'll just do this. We'll print the index, which is count, and we'll print whatever, we'll access whatever element we are at using our count, right? And then we'll increment it. So when we go back, this should now, count should now be a 2, right? And what I was saying with wait, I don't think you have to use wait in here, because this is not a forever loop, so it won't run forever. It'll stop at a certain point, but it'll do it like instantaneously, so you won't be able to see the results. You will be able to see the results. You won't be able to get to see it in action. So yeah, that is a while loop with arrays. Now let's do this. Solving for mean. All right, let me get this down here. Now, if you remember in math, what mean means, basically it means finding the average in a set of numbers. So we want to get the mean we want to get the average for this, right? Now, how do we do that? What we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called sum, and this will basically keep the sum, like the sum of all the numbers, basically. And then we're also going to make another one called, well, we don't need to actually. So here we're going to do this. So for index value in I pairs, and we're going to iterate through my array do. So when we iterate through it, we want to add to the sum whatever value is. We don't want to do index because it'll just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We want the value. So we'll get the sum of this entire array, right? And so when we get down here, so now we have the sum. When we get down here, we'll do average. And so how we get the mean is doing the total of the set of numbers divided by how many integers there are. So we'll do sum divided by table dot get in. So we're getting the array, the length of the array, and I want to print sum as well. And I'm gonna print let's do this, sum, and we'll here average. Alright, so if we run this, we should get the sum. We'll print it out. So 5 plus 3 plus 7. We'll add all these up. We'll print the sum, and then we'll get the average by doing sum divided by the numbers, the number of elements there are. So when we run this, okay, the sum is 43, and when we divide it, we get 4.777 repeating. Yep, that is pretty cool. Should we do the actual math? And then now I'm okay. Let's comment this out. So yeah, that's solving for the mean. Our last example will be with a chair, which I've made here, if you didn't see. So, well, not a chair, whoops. It's a table, whoops. That's not a chair. I could make it a chair. No, I'll keep it a table. So if you didn't know, you can so here we have our services. In our workspace service, we have all these objects, right? Now these are what you call children. These are children of the workspace, right? And when an object has something underneath it, it's called a child. And if it has multiple, they're children, right? Now, when they have children, you can basically you can it's basically an array, right? So you can use it as, you can iterate through it like a normal array. And I'm not sure if I've gone through this, but there is a certain function that I will be using that I haven't talked about. It's a built-in function by Roblox. I will do it soon in the future. I'll go over it with all the other ones, but here I'll use it as a quick example. So I'm gonna group this and I'm gonna name it chair. No, I'm gonna name it table. Stop messing myself up. And so here we're gonna access table, local table, okay, my table. And here we're gonna do game dot workspace dot table. Now we're referencing our table. Now we have our table from the workspace, right? This model. Now we can use a for loop through it. So for index value in I pairs, or you can just do pairs, doesn't matter. Wait, what is it? Wait, I think I pairs is for an iterative. Okay, I don't care. So my table, and then we use this certain function that I talked about that I have not gone over. It's called get children, and basically what it does, I talked about when you have multiple things under a certain object, they're called children, right? And basically we're getting all the children. So now when we get all the children, we have an array now. So this returns to us an array. Do, right? So where we usually input our array, we have this thing called get children now. So it returns to us an array. Actually, wait, I want to do this real quick. I want to show you. When we use get children, because it'll return to us an array. Look, see? So basically how we've seen with normal arrays, get children does quite the exact same. It'll return to us an array. So here we use get children to loop through this model, and basically now we can mess with the objects inside of that model. Now if value, well, let's just do this. Value dot anchored. Oops. How do you spell anchored? What? Am I not spelling it right? Okay, wait. Am I what? Value dot. Well, let's just do this. Let's print value real quick. Okay, wait. Yes, it is a part, but why? Oh, I forget. It doesn't really come with. Okay, let's just do this. So I was confused why it wasn't auto-filling, because it usually doesn't do that when you have a nameless variable. So dot anchor equals false. These are all anchored right now, but when I run it, it should be unanchored. So the table will fall. And what did I do? I've played the game. I don't want to do that. I just want to run it. What? Where did my thing go? Oh. Okay, what happened here? Anchor is not a valid member. Wait, what? Am I not doing this right? Anchor. Is it anchored? It is anchored. Okay, redo. Okay, now it should, okay, yeah. So everything falls apart, right? So that's just the basics. Let's change the color. So brick color equals brick color dot new. Well, I want to do random. We'll have a colorful. Okay, that's pretty colorful. So yeah. What about this? What about, oops. What do I want to do with this table? What about changing the size? Vector 3 dot new 10 10 10. It's gonna be a fat table. Whoa, that is not a table no more. Value dot name new part. Wait, wait. I got an idea. What if I do this? Part 1. And we'll do this one as well as part 1. So if value dot name equals part 1, then we'll change the values brick color. Brick color dot new, and we'll just change it to red. Now, if any of these parts or objects name is brick color, part 1, it'll change their color to red. So when we run it, there should be 2. Yeah, so 2 of the legs are red. Yeah, that's pretty cool, to be honest. You can do a lot more, but I can't really think of anything else to do with my table. But yeah, you can loop through objects and models and services using this getChildren function, but we're not going to do much with that right now because that's later in the future. So yeah, let's review. So a for loop iterates through the entire array. We have access to both our index and our value. We did a normal for loop with an array. We did a for loop with an array, right? We had our index and our value. We checked if our index is 3, and if it is, we just did add index 3. We also checked it with the value. We looped through an array. We traversed through an array with a while loop using a count variable, checking if count was less than or equal to our length of the array, right? And we increment by 1. We solved for the average of an array. So we created a sum variable. We added all these up together, and we divided by the number of elements in this array, which got our average. And our table example, which is not a chair, we just messed with some of the objects. Yeah, you could do a lot more with it though. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this really long video. Next video I'll do for loops with dictionaries. I don't know if it'll be long like this one, but I don't know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a lot about for loops and arrays. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.